A friend became a manager where she worked, so her work friend became her employee. Dude was older than her by like 15 years and obsessed with her, but she had no idea. She was a friend of his family, and Andy to his kids. She would have brunch with his wife regularly. At one point, he got his hands on her keys while she was working, and he had a copy made of her house key. He waited years for the opportunity to break into her house when she was away on holiday, and he was seen by a neighbor, who called her. He went from married with a happy family and a steady, government job to divorced and unemployed. He lost his house and custody of his kids in the divorce and now lives in a one-bedroom apartment in another town. What is the fastest way you have seen someone ruin their life? Story 1. Pound a bottle of Jack, hop in car with girlfriend, drive 100 miles per hour, hit tree, live girlfriend, breathe through tube for rest of life, quadriplegic. He was 16 at the time. Story 2. A woman I worked with got her nursing license and got a job a month later. Where I worked, she proceeded to steal a bunch of pills that day and was fired and lost her license. Story 3. My sister's ex-fiancé got in a drunken argument with his new girlfriend and choked her to death in their apartment, a few years after my sister broke up with him. Did a lot of prison time. I think he just got out after about 15 years. Story 4. Mom had an affair and abandoned our family for said affair partner when I was a baby. Thought the grass was greener. Turns out the guy she left for was a raging alcoholic who just never could clean up. Pawned her jewelry for booze after he lost his job, hired escorts, the works. Put my mom through hell. Ended up live of liver failure, and my mom is alone now. I think the guilt and shame has caught up to her. I'm not angry anymore. She made a mistake, but it has been one of the biggest lessons in my life. My dad has never spoken one bad word of her in my 35 years of life. He's incredible, and I'm thankful every day he raised my brother and I. Story 5. World of Warcraft. He had a full scholarship to a very good university that his family could not have afforded otherwise. He started playing WoW 60 hours a week and got expelled halfway through his second year. Story 6. This is from someone who wrote into an advice column, but it has stuck with me these many years. The guy wrote about how he had begged his wife to swing with the couple next door. She was dead set against it, but he pestered her about it for a couple of years, and she finally, reluctantly, agreed. When the time came, the guy was very disappointed to find the neighbor's wife was not as tight as he had anticipated. Meanwhile, his neighbor was giving his wife what looked to be an out-of-body experience. It made him extremely angry and resentful of his wife for enjoying it so much. I think he said something like, "I can't even look at her without wanting to punch her in the face." The columnist told him off and advised him to file for divorce. The guy wrote an update stating a few months after the swinging occurred, the neighbors divorced and his wife left him for the guy next door. They married soon after. He felt blindsided and betrayed. Story 7. My cousin's wife. She was a neighbor of his since they were pretty young, and we all knew her from when she was a little girl. She grew into a beautiful woman, they started dating, married, I was their best man, and had beautiful twin girls. They had a very nice suburban home. She somehow got involved in the Denver meth scene. Abandoned her husband, her kids, and was living under an underpass somewhere in Denver, just a shell of her former self. Then we got word that she had died. Heartbreaking. Story 8. A friend of mine freshman year in college, took all the money his dad had given him for college and bought a ring and proposed to his girlfriend, who was a senior in high school. She said she wanted to wait until she graduated, which he took as a no, and in a fit of anger, threw the ring into the nearby lake. His plan was his dad would be so happy he was getting married, that he would reimburse all the money he had given him. Instead, the ring was gone, he had to drop out of college because he couldn't pay, and last I saw, he was working at a convenience store in town. Even though she said wait, she still tried to get back together with him afterwards, and he said no, you weren't interested when I proposed to you, you won't be interested again. Story 9. My roommate in the army got drunk and damaged a door in the barracks. He got an Article 15, which is basically a fine. He refused it and got sent to jail for a month or two. In jail, he took a swing at an officer. He got sent to federal prison. I lost track of him at that point. If he'd simply signed the Article 15, he'd have lost $150 but been fine afterwards. Never saw someone f their life up that quickly before or since. Story 10. Guy I went to middle school with met a 13-year-old on Fortnite and traveled from Pennsylvania to Georgia to try and hook up with him. Kid understandably got spooked and told the cops, who nailed him in a sting down there when he'd already traveled down. Turns out he had a collection of CP on his computers. Is currently doing 15 almost 10 years in federal prison. He had a good job in a private school and was a basketball coach, and well respected before then. The scary thing was that he was also a tutor at a special needs school on top of that, and if he'd wanted to take advantage of that he could have. As an aside, he was a complete douchebag to me since I wasn't one of the popular clique, so any tiny shred of sympathy I'd have for him was never there to begin with. Enjoy prison, Como. ETA, forgot the exact amount of time he was in for. If you enjoy the video, smash that like button, subscribe to help and motivate us to continue making videos like this and much more. It's free. Leave a comment if you have stories to share and maybe yours will appear in the next video. Our team wishes you have a great day. Story 11. My cousin, a big bodybuilder type, he used to work as a bouncer, he had a wife and daughter, then his dad died and he went down the rabbit hole of drugs. He lost his marriage, was not allowed to see his daughter anymore, his ex-wife got a new boyfriend that raped his daughter. When he finally got clean, he was a thin pale ghost of his former self. Story 12. Back when I was delivering pizzas in a fairly nice area, some kid put 6 rounds of .38 auto in my chest to steal my Camaro. Later found out this kid had a full ride at UF, straight a student, from a very wealthy family. Just started rolling with a bad crowd I guess. Got caught when he brought the car home, and the next morning it went out on the news. His own dad turned him in. Aside from some wicked scars, I made a full recovery. Story 13. Friend graduated with me from pharmacy school. We were all set to start making $130K plus a year for the rest of our lives. He sold $2.9 million of oxycodone to an undercover DEA agent like 3 months into his first job. What a total idiot. 19-year prison sentence, lost his license, obviously, so now he'll be a 45-year-old unemployable felon when he gets out instead of a respected healthcare professional with a good wage. Story 14. This isn't like a single instance where a person f***ed up their whole life in one go, but I was there for the domino that brought down the whole house. Was working at a gas station. Lady wanted smokes but didn't have her ID. I refused to make the sale, she was upset, got angry, stole a banana. Well, police frequented the store because it was the only one that was open 24 hours in the town. Cop watches her take the banana after her fit and promptly stops her in the parking lot before she can leave. At first, he was just going to have her return the banana as a sorta petty way to get back at her for being a huge bitch about the whole situation with the smokes. 5 minutes later, he's still got her stopped and 2 more squad cars roll up with their lights on. Turns out, lady had 8 warrants in 3 states for various drug and theft charges. She got taken in, ostensibly extradited to the other states for charges, and raked over the courts over a pack of Swisher Sweets and a banana. Story 15. Who I didn't see firsthand but I am aware of. One lad I grew up with, nice lad from a rough family, he was the black sheep. He was intelligent, polite, didn't fight, didn't get in trouble, was well liked and so on. Sometime around his 19th birthday he was on a night out with friends, got drunk and another lad bumped into him accidentally spilling his drink. His friend he was with got in the other guy's face even though he apologized, so the guy pushed him away. The nice kid I grew up with punched the guy, he fell, hit his head and died. He got sent to prison for manslaughter. Completely ruined his life, in and out of prison multiple times since, fell into drugs and so on. He was the one who could have escaped his family reputation and gone on to do something with his life, but f***ed it. Is an ex-girlfriend of mine, and this happened before I met her. Studying to be a doctor, smart, beautiful, great sense of humor, proper social butterfly type who people just wanted to be around. There was a birthday party for her friend and she drove there to drop off a present, say hi and had to go home as she had classes the next day. When she was there she obviously declined alcohol but had a glass of lemonade someone offered her and got in her car to go home. Drove the wrong way down a motorway and crashed her car into someone else, causing serious injury to both herself and the other person. Turns out that she'd been drugged at the party. I don't know the exact ins and outs off the top of my head, but she basically admitted to guilt and spent 3 months in prison. Her plans for life were ruined and she had to start over. Never drove again, never drank again. Even though she didn't drink at the party, she flat out refused to even have a lemonade anymore and would take her own bottle of Coca-Cola or something in her bag so she could screw the lid on. Got severe anxiety and depression, etc. When she told me, I felt so bad for her because some a-hole drugged her and she ended up both injured, with a criminal record, a driving ban and her life ruined. Story 16. A well-respected pastor in my town got caught having an affair. He had a wife and 2 kids. Wife left him, girlfriend left him, wife got the house and a divorce. He lost his job and only sees his kids twice a month. It's all completely his own fault and I don't necessarily feel bad for him, but man, you have never seen a more broken shell of a person. When he's not with his kids, the little time he gets with them, he stays holed up in his apartment, doing the work from home job he managed to get. He keeps completely to himself, barely goes out, is super quiet when he has to be out, and looks really rough. He's like a ghost just floating around. The few friends who go and check on him every once in a while say that his kids are probably the only reason he's still alive. Story 17. Dude with a 6-figure IT job stole a $600 laptop knowing we LoJacked all laptops. He waited a month and then booted it up on his home network. The laptop promptly sent us his IP address and network name, which was his last name. Boss called him out on it. He broke down and confessed and was fired. This is not the dumbest part of the story. He was the second person in IT to steal a laptop and get caught and fired. And yes, he knew all about the first guy. What? It has been years and I still can't wrap my head around it. For your amusement, when we did the final interview with his replacement, we did it as a group and each asked him a question and answered any questions he might have. When my turn came, I asked him, "Do you ever get the urge to just steal stuff?" And the whole team lost it. Boss was not amused, but it all worked out. Guy had a great sense of humor. Story 18. Not really that fast, but fast enough for how badly she ruined her life. Woman I knew got a near $500,000 windfall. She filed to divorce her husband, bought an expensive house, met a new guy, became his sugar mama, got engaged to him after learning she was pregnant. All of that was in less than a year. In less than a year she had no money left, made no investments except for the house. Her ex was suing her for full custody and attempted parental alienation, and her young fiancé no longer wanted to marry. And it wasn't because she was broke, there were still things to sell, but because she had become abusive towards him. By the way, ex-husband did get full custody because go figure she had been abusive towards him, and report from the new fiancé really helped out. I think she got supervised visits. Story 19. Goody two-shoes mom of 2 little kids, never a party girl, she's the one who had 1 glass of wine and called it a night. 40th birthday, her friends got coke. She'd never tried it. Did a line at home with friends. Fentanyl. Una live. Kids have no mom, and she gets labeled as a junkie. Story 20. Narcissist/egotistical brother-in-law disrespected my mother-in-law and wife, fiancé back then, claimed he was better than everyone else and that his friends were his only true supporters/family. Moved out of their apartment to launch his band and get out of the shitty and ghetto city he grew up in. He's homeless now in the same city. We've reached the end of the video. If you enjoy, smash that like button, subscribe to help and motivate us to continue making videos like this and much more. It's free. Leave a comment if you have stories to share and maybe yours will appear in the next video. Our team wishes you have a great day.